Since the fall of man, a war has raged between good and evil. Over the centuries, this war has distorted the truth. Now the truth is perceived as lies, and lies acknowledged as truth. To this day, the battle continues as we investigate and debate the truth behind the history and mystery of the universe. We are ParaTruth Radio.
What's going on, Parafans? Welcome to another episode of ParaTruth Radio. My name is Justin. This week, we were supposed to have on Nick Redfern. He was unable to join us this week, and we had to reschedule him for next week, so you will catch him next week with us. So I decided to play the episode that we were on the Malliard Report until next week, where we are with Nick Redfern about his book, The Monster Book. So, without further ado, here is the episode we did with Jim Malliard on the Malliard Report.
My guests tonight are Justin and Eric of ParaTruth Radio, right? Is that how I say all that?
That's absolutely how you say all that.
So, introduce yourself so they know the voices. So before we get too far going.
My name is Justin.
And is Eric paying attention?
And I'm Eric.
he went to lunch on us apparently. Well, let's start with the show.
I spoke.
Now it's all Justin, the rest of the show.
That's usually how it works. So,
well, give me a little background on the show, and then we'll get back, and then we'll go around, and we'll come back to the show before it's over, I'm sure. So,
all right, Eric, give them the taste of ParaTruth Radio.
Yeah. So ParaTruth Radio, it's a radio show. It's a good thing. So it's a show in which we talk about the paranormal, and we take two stances on either side. Typically, it's a Christian worldview compared to or versus a worldview, and basically what we do is we talk about anything and everything paranormal, whether it's ghosts, demons, angels, heaven, hell, cryptids, you name it, we talk about it and we love it. And every once in a while, we get into, somewhat healthy debates, and we're still co-hosts, so that's a good thing.
That's always a plus.
But we have guests on from all walks of life. We have authors on. We have radio personality on. We have people from all kinds of different areas in the entertainment world. We've even had a screenwriter on, which had nothing to do with the paranormal, but every once in a while we like to branch out beyond the paranormal just to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room every once in a while. Sometimes talking about the paranormal can get a little deep and a little dark. So every once in a while we like to take a step back. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's a good show to listen to. Plus we always have fun.
I was going to say, that's we have a lot in common, so that's why I brought you guys on, because my listeners could benefit from your show. Because I fully believe that if they're listening to podcasts, they're probably listening to more me anyways, so I might as well give them more good shows to listen to.
Might as well give them some more good content to listen to.
Yeah. And as
all of the other stuff.
Yeah, get rid of some other show. Anyways, as I drop my show right now. Now, actually, a long time ago, I wish I could find the clip because it'd probably be a good commercial. I said, if ghost hunting is the only thing you enjoy doing in the dark, I don't want you to listen to my show. Oh, wait, I just said it again on the air, so now I know where the clip is.
Right, there you go.
No, but okay, so Justin, I've known you for longer than I care to remember. We'll say it that way. How does that sound? Yeah. But what got you interested in the paranormal to start with, way back, probably before I met you the first time?
Well, it was something I have actually always been interested in as a kid. I guess you could say a dumb kid at times. Played with Ouija boards, played with tarot cards, and eventually, I had lost my faith. I came back to my faith after Eric and I actually started in 2009 with Night Stalkers Paranormal Radio and our paranormal investigation group that went with that. And what really got us interested, I think, for the most part, was the shows that were out at that time, and most of them still are out now, to actually do the paranormal investigation part. What started Night Stalkers was Eric and I would always talk about things like vampires, werewolves, zombies, and then the one day, I'm like, we should do a show about this, and Eric's like, yeah, okay. So I did some research, found Blog Talk Radio, and Night Stalkers Paranormal Radio was born.
Unfortunately. Oh, you found Blog Talk, unfortunately, I guess is what I meant to say.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, can you hear me? Why did I just spit on my hand? Anyways, that's the only way to get that sound effect going now. So, Eric, what got you interested into all of this fun stuff?
Well, me and Justin being cousins, we actually have similar backgrounds. We grew up together, which is unfortunate, but, it is what it is.
Because you're unbearable, that's why it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, somebody has to be. Oh.
But my sisters and I, actually, we grew up playing with the Ouija board mostly. That's pretty much all we ever played with. And it was nothing. It was just a game. And one night we were actually playing with the Ouija board, and we were asking questions. And the dial that you use became extremely hot. It was too hot to touch. We couldn't keep our hands on it. And that in itself was very intriguing. Scary, but intriguing. I grew up in a haunted house. We would have the lights flashing on and off, power constantly going out, footsteps walking up from the basement, middle of the night, a lot of weird, creepy noises coming from the basement. My sister not often, but she saw me once. This is an interesting story. She saw me once sitting up in my bed, and as she walked over to come hang out, like it's 3 a.m. I'm up. Why not? Let's go talk with my brother. She walks over, and I disappear, but I'm sleeping in my bed. And she realized that it was me hovering over myself, and she didn't know what it was. And I seen so many shadows in that house, and just witnessed so many things that I think eventually, when I became old enough to fully comprehend what it was that was going on and understand, like, this isn't or shouldn't be normal, that's when I really started getting into the research and the investigations. And, like Justin had said, some of the shows that were out back then, Ghost Hunters, before, they became crappy, and Ghost Adventures, and, of course, a little known show on the CW called Supernatural, eventually all played into the factor as well, that just really built my interest. And I started getting into demonology and researching demons. And one of the books that I had bought at the time was The Lesser Key of Solomon. And I actually bought that book because I started going through some demonic affliction, which is by far 3 of the scariest months of my entire life. And so, with all of that combined, it did eventually bring us to Night Stalkers. And, so many years later, about almost 8 years later, here we are with ParaTruth Radio, and, still doing it.
Yeah.
We'll get into the current rendition here in a minute, but I got to touch on this Ouija board subject because I'm sure maybe I should have left the camera. Well, I don't have my camera up, so you couldn't see the strange look I was giving you when you said you just played with it like it was a toy. Did it bother anyone, or did I mean, I agree that it's what it is. I mean, it is what you put into it, but it just, I don't know, it's just kind of fun to me to think about because there's so many people out there that would be scared shitless. Scared of that one. They even give a child, or anyone, or have one in their house. I hear so many people like, I don't even want it anywhere near my house. So. Right.
Well, you have to remember the times, even though it hasn't been that long. I mean, I'm 30, and the times have changed since I was, 10 years old. Back when I was 10, everybody had a Ouija board. All my friends had Ouija boards, and it was just something that we did. And it wasn't until I was about 18 years old that all the shows started coming out, and Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and a number of others, and started talking more about the Ouija board. And people became more aware of what the Ouija board was, so many centuries ago, and what it was really used for.
Right.
And unfortunate that it became a commercial product. People realized that they can make money off of it if they geared it towards children and teenagers and said, hey, you can learn about your future. Just ask questions and, so on and so forth. But people didn't realize the truth behind it. You didn't realize that there was doors being opened that would negatively affect you and allow things to come in and harm you. So I think that's the big difference now. Today we have people like the three of us who are on air and can say, hey, this is what the Ouija board really is. And people hear it and they start to learn. And I think that's where the difference comes in. Nowadays people can actually learn about it, and they have people who are willing to teach them the truth about the Ouija board, which a lot of us didn't have back in the early 90s even.
Right. I think it being marketed as a toy, that's why people think of it as a toy. And, as Eric was saying, back when we were kids, my stepmother gave me my first Ouija board. It wasn't anything that was shunned or thought as bad. Her grandmother had done, it has to do with the stars, not astrology. She had worked with astrology, and so she was kind of introduced to all of this as well at an early age. And so she had kind of introduced it to me, even though I already knew what a Ouija board was. Everybody knew what a Ouija board was, and nobody, like Eric said, nobody told you, you're going to open a doorway, or they never said, hey, you need to be careful with using this. Nothing like that at all.
So I've got a, where'd it go? I have to read it because, Kat, happy birthday, even though you don't want to admit it, first and foremost. But you have to be 18 to vote and 8 to summon a demon with the Ouija board. Okay, anyway. Like I said, I had to read it because it was funny, and I was trying. You know how it is. Sometimes you'll see something and you're sitting here going, you're having a serious conversation, and you see something, you just want to laugh.
Right.
It's dangerous. And then people wonder why I mute my microphone, because I'm sitting here laughing, and then then the conversation, and I just start talking because I'm supposed to be talking, and nobody can hear me.
And it really is funny to us, but when you think at the popular culture as it is today, voting is something tangible. It's something that we know, something that we can see, something that everybody does. But not everyone believes in demons. Some people will look at that and say, it's funny, but who cares? Where people like us will see it and be like, this is serious stuff. This is a very bad thing, and it's very unfortunate. But.
Well, I'm going to take a side street here because it's an interesting conversation. I have it often with people about, are we losing spirituality altogether because of electronics and the pace of the information and just, bang, 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 everything going on around us?
Mm-hmm. I honestly think we're losing not just our spirituality or spiritual growth, but we're also losing our humanity. Even though, doing the podcast, I would love to have people constantly have our show on their smartphones or on their computers or whatever. But in the long run, there's been a lot of people that post memes that say, we're in our zombie apocalypse right now, and a bunch of teenagers are looking at their phones, walking around, not looking up, and not interacting with each other. So in the long run, we're losing both. We're not only losing our spirituality, but we're losing our humanity as well.
On another side, though, like a side note, I guess, it would seem that we are losing humanity in a sense and spirituality, but this is what I believe is a phase. A lot of people for the longest time, at least since 2012, they believe the apocalypse is upon us, the end times and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that it isn't, but when you look historically and statistically speaking, since Christ's resurrection, Christianity has fluctuated enormously over the centuries. Sometimes, Christianity is widespread. Sometimes it gets narrowed out. Then it's widespread again, gets narrowed out. And it just happens like that over and over. And there's just these constant phases that the world goes through. And that's actually scripturally based as well. God says that things are going to happen. These things are going to happen repeatedly over and over again. Don't believe that the end is near. Don't believe that it's all over. And I think right now this is a phase. And I honestly believe that the whole paranormal thing that we've gotten into back in 2000, probably around 2010 or so, maybe a little earlier, 2008, I think it's starting to fade away a little bit. The TV shows, I think there's still a lot of people who are really interested in the paranormal, but unfortunately, I don't think it's as big of a, I'm going to call it a industry, if you will, because it has turned into an industry. It has, yeah. I don't think it's as big of an industry as it was back in 08 or 07. So yeah, it does seem that media and technology is forcing us to become almost like mindless zombies. But at the same time, being in the media industry myself, it's also allowing us to do great things, and some of those great things are just, teaching the world about the Gospels and allowing us to really bring Christianity back again, and make it stronger even.
It is interesting. It's an interesting topic to think about. I'm not. Mm-hmm. One more question. I did write down paranormal industry because I definitely do want to talk to you boys about that. But I want to ask this question. With the need to know everything, like, if we had a question right now, between the three of us, one of us would hit Google and look it up.
Right.
The immediate need to know. And I don't know, is that because, that's new for all of us, because between computers and smartphones, no matter where we are, we have access to anything we want to know, and if we don't know it, we don't need to know it, apparently.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
But is that beneficial? It sounds beneficial, but is it really? It doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Right. Again, going back to the podcasting thing, in a sense, yes, it is beneficial to find things that you're looking for. But as far as, just as an example, since I am trying to be a writer, a lot of books, especially the physical books, are being lost now. A lot of them are going to just ebooks or the e-readers or what have you, and that could probably be said about a lot of different aspects of not just research, but research, history. A lot of libraries might eventually close down because things are going to digital and Google, and being able to access all of that from one space. I think that in that sense it's not beneficial, because then all we're doing is sitting in our homes just Googling what we want to know instead of going out and getting the answers for ourselves.
I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit. And
no, you won't.
Well,
no,
okay.
You won't.
You know what, Justin? I don't know why I do radio shows with you, man.
Because it's fun and entertaining. That's why.
I think, to put this in the words of one of the best guys I've ever known, and it's actually a professor of mine, when talking about just life in general, or talking about film, or no matter what it is that we talk about, one thing that a statement he constantly raises is, it depends. What do you want in life? It depends. What do you want to know? It depends. And it's true. Here, it depends as well. Is having, like, Google, for example, a good thing, or isn't it? Well, it depends. Now, if I'm talking to someone, and I'm going to go ahead and use a spiritual basis here, but if I'm talking to someone of some spiritual matters, and there's a Bible verse that I know of it, but I can't think of what the verse is or where it's at or anything like that, Google's a great thing. I could type in a question, and boom, I got the verse that I wanted to share with them, So things like that, it's very beneficial. And when we absolutely need the answer at that exact moment, because later on it may not be any good later on, but if you absolutely need it at that very moment, it's very beneficial. However, if you're just curious about something and you want to know the answer, I think that's where it's not as beneficial, because when you Google something, there's many times you'll get this little bar or something like that at the top, and it'll give you the answer right there. You don't even have to click on any other links. It just has the answer.
Right.
But that answer isn't always the truth. When you actually start digging in and doing more research, click on some of those links, you'll see that a number of different people, whether they're scientists or just normal individuals like you and I use normal loosely, their opinions change, and therefore the answer to your question changes. And you sometimes have to discern what you believe is the truth. And so I think in that sense, it's very important to do real research. And I don't mean just the internet, but actually dig into books, go to the library, and really see what answers are out there, and start taking the combination of answers that there are and sort through and find what the truth is, what the real truth is. Because, the internet, it isn't all truthful. A lot of people think it is. It's not. So,
except these shows we do. They're all truthful.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, your show is ParaTruth. We have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, don't tell people you're lying. Come on.
No. What? I don't lie.
It is okay to be wrong from time to time, but lying, I don't think we lie on purpose per se.
No, I just had to throw him under the bus because that's another good mention for the show, at least. Eric, let's go to Eric first because I'm interested. All I got was that you're doing a short film. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know more than that, but I'm gonna know more in 3, 2, 1.
Unless I decide not to tell you about it.
Well, then you decide not to tell the audience, and then nobody will watch it, and then you'll be like, why do they waste so much time?
Fair enough. All right. So, I just finished, I actually just finished a short film a couple days ago. It's called The Revealed. It's about a young woman named Abigail Franklin, who, she happens to be a New York Times bestselling author, and she's forced into questioning what is real and what isn't. She meets a couple of encounters with extraterrestrial beings, and she believes that the true aliens until a friend of hers comes by and says that what he believes they are is a very sinister being of a spiritual nature. That's the pitch, by the way. That's just laying it out there. Boom, that's what it is. But the story itself is actually a little more in depth, and it's a short film, mind you. It's 10 minutes and 30 seconds long. I actually just had a review of it recently, and it got great reviews from about 40 people who had watched it, which is great news. It's awesome when someone can watch something and tell you that's really good, especially when you're sitting in front of a computer working on it for 3-4 months straight. You start to question whether or not it really is a good film. And I think we do that sometimes to the radio shows as well. Just like, is this a good episode? I don't know.
He worries too much about that. I just say they're all good. Next week will be better.
But the story revolves around a conversation between Abby and her friend Sam. And as they're talking, Sam is kind of the initiator here. He's questioning Abby, asking her when all of these things began. When did these abductions, because she thinks she's being abducted by aliens, happen? When did they really happen? And she starts talking about it, and she starts giving details about her life over the past several months. And those details include specific interactions with these entities. And of course, it's not just a discussion, because as she starts to begins to talk about these aliens, you actually get to see the story unfold in front of us. So I could sit here and tell you about my past, for example, but in the film, we're actually going in her mind and seeing her past. Sorry, my door started knocking in the background. I was like, what the heck?
You got some paranormal activity going on right now.
We could discuss that later. That's something completely different. But yeah, so in the 10 minutes and 30 seconds of the film, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end, which is, believe it or not, doesn't happen on all films. Some movies kind of just have a beginning and that's it. But you kind of just see into Abby's past and then live with her in this moment, the things that she went through, the ups, the downs, the horrifying moments that she has witnessed, and ultimately come to your own conclusion as to what it is that she's experiencing in the end.
So, is this your first?
This is it's not my first film, but this is going to be my first festival piece.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. When are you going to release it, and what's the next few steps you got going in your mind?
Okay, so now that the film has been officially completed, I have 1 year in which it can work on the festivals or run the festival circuit. You only get about a year, approximately. Occasionally it'll go beyond that, depending on how well it does in festivals. You can extend it to 2 years or so. But the plan is for the next year to send it to festivals all around the country, if not the world, to see how well it does. If it ends up getting a lot of attention, we'll see what the next step is. There are the possibility of selling it on the website, for example, or distributing it in a number of different ways. It could be sold as a bundle with other films that are similar, like full feature films that are similar to it. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there have been a couple films that have come out recently that actually have a short film at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And then you have all the credits, and then you have the actual film. Well, that is one option. That is a possibility. There's distributors in which you can actually just go online, get a distribution company who would then sell that short film, and people could pay for it that way. There's also Amazon Prime and Netflix, which actually both house short films. And, of course, you can find some small income from there, nothing major, but you can definitely find income there, and that's a really good way to promote the film, and more importantly, promote yourself as a filmmaker, because that's the ultimate goal. You want people to enjoy the films that you make, and I think that personally, all films, any film that it is, should be able to teach somebody something in some way. All right, there are movies out there that are just kind of like, I don't even know what to call it. They're just like slap happy, comedy films that have no real imaginative substance to it whatsoever. It's just, here, I want to make you laugh, and that's it. But I think a real story, is deeper. I think it teaches people about themselves as they watch it. Because I think you need to have a similarity or a connection between the audience and your actors or your characters that you have on the screen. And so, yeah, after the 1 year of the film festival, I'm thinking of, if it doesn't get picked up by somebody, because that is a possibility, I'm thinking I'm going to send it to Netflix and or Amazon Prime and see if they'd be willing to pick it up for several months to a year and stream it from there. The good thing is, after the festivals, depending on how things go, I may just release it online or as DVD format and allow people to see it if they haven't seen it in the festival itself. So.
And about my last question about filmmaking, I promise, because I know, well, I don't really care what people think. How difficult was it to keep it to that 10, what'd you say, 10, 30, 10, 20, whatever it was?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Originally, all right, so the original script that I was writing was meant to be a feature script, so about a 90-minute film. And I was having trouble over the last year just really 2 years ago, I was having trouble trying to bring the whole story together to make it 90 minutes. So I had this idea that I could actually turn it into a short film and have a whole lot more punch behind it by doing so. So the original product was about, the script, was about 20 pages. Which would have lasted about 20 minutes. Each page of a script is 1 minute of runtime equivalent. So I had 20 pages, And after talking with some people and having them read through it, we decided that we can actually cut it down more and make it even more impactful. So it dropped down to 15 pages, then 12 pages, and eventually got it to 10 pages solid. And that was the final working script. That was the script that we're going to go with. That's the one that I pitched. That's the one that the actors got and were able to read for the film. And so we shot the film for a week. It was approximately 12 hours a day, 7 days, almost 10 days, actually. And it was stressful. Not everything goes the way that you plan it when you're making a film, unfortunately. But once we got everything shot, I had hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of footage. And so what you have to do is go through and choose the exact shots that you want for each individual sequence or clip. So that's where the cutting down really came in, because I had 2 hours worth of footage that I put together, and I then cut it down to 20 minutes. Then I cut it down to 13 minutes, and eventually I kind of shaved it down to that 10-minute and 30-second mark, which is the final product now. And that includes credits as well at the end. So it just takes a lot of work, just choosing, is this scene really necessary? Do I need this particular shot? Do I need this dialogue? Will this dialogue make the movie stronger, or am I weakening the movie by putting it in here? And, those are the choices you have to make. And those are the choices that are ultimately going to bring you to the time limit that you need. And that's how I got to that final time. So
better you than me. Okay. Now we'll push Eric off to the corner for a minute. We'll pull Justin back up if he's still alive. And you're in the same boat, but almost the same boat. You've got a book that isn't out quite yet, but it's coming out. So why don't we go through that?
All right. The book's called The Griffin, Book 1 in the Legendary Creature Saga. It's about a mad scientist who is trying to bring back legendary creatures through human genetic manipulation. And it's actually a book that's weighed on my mind for a long time. And it actually started out as a project that I kind of started in high school, and it was a bat creature. But as my interests evolved, so did the book. So it's going to be a 3-part trilogy, and he's going to do a different legendary creature for each one, eventually, not to ruin the ending, but that leads to his demise, obviously.
As I say, you should have said spoiler alert first there, I think. I mean, you haven't even wrote it yet. You're giving... So, I know that you've been, I don't want to say struggling, but maybe that is the word, trying to find a publisher, or where is that? Where are you at with that? Even if you want to comment on that, I guess. I should preference it that way.
I have not heard anything back from any of the publishers that I did submit to. With that being said, I did not use an agent, which is sometimes more beneficial than trying to do it yourself. I also have the option of self-publishing, where way back when nobody really had that option until recently. So worst case scenario, I will self-publish. There is a company that actually is paired with Penguin Publishing that is a self-publishing company, and a lot of times they will pick up the books that the self-publishing company does. So fingers crossed, I'm hoping to either hear something soon or it will be self-published. I've also been having a little bit of an issue trying to find somebody to do the cover artwork. So FYI, guys, if there's anybody out there that knows anybody that does artwork, I'd be more than happy to either give them an honorable mention or even at this point pay them to do my cover artwork.
I might be able to help you with that. They might be listening tonight even, or they might listen to it. So if they don't get a hold of you, I might remind me in a couple. Well, we'll get back to that. Remind me. I might be able to help you with that. Might.
Okay.
Not going to promise anything. Sure, it sure as hell isn't me. I mean, anyone can think. I'm lucky to talk, let alone any of the rest of So I've been rifling around this subject for the last couple months. So I know this isn't your bread and butter, but I just want your guys' hot takes. That was good. On UFO.
Did he say hot cakes? I'm starving.
Yeah, on UFO disclosure.
UFO disclosure.
Where the government's going to, where President Trump's going to release all this information. I almost said that with a straight face. Okay. Anyways.
Well, they're already claiming that they already have released full disclosure. I would disagree that they have, because if they had, the Roswell incident would not still just only be an incident and what people call quote-unquote conspiracy theory. So I think they will? I absolutely do not think so, because they want to keep that mystery going and keep people wondering. Do I think they will try and present things like extraterrestrials visiting us? I think that would be more along the lines of manipulation, because if aliens were smart at all, they would stay away from planet Earth, at least at this point. So,
well, all right. So in this particular case, Trump is just a pawn. He doesn't have the power to release that information, even if he wanted to. There are powers much greater than he right now on the planet that are capable of keeping that stuff a secret, and it's up to them whether or not to release it ultimately. The one thing that's important to know is that by releasing the information, that would have a huge impact on society in regards to the income that comes in from the industry that actually formed due to this whole conspiracy theory as to whether or not the government has UFOs or knows anything about aliens. If the information was leaked or was just brought forth and said, hey, yeah, we do have UFOs, guess what? A lot of people start losing jobs because nobody cares to read about UFOs anymore. They have everything they ever wanted to know. The only reason people buy books on UFOs or watch movies on, aliens, stuff like that, is because they're interested. They want to know. They want to believe that there's something there. And if they learn that it's true, that they are there, well, guess what? They don't need to buy a book anymore. There's no more research for them to come to their own conclusions. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Justin, we got to get that book done pronto about get that bad boy out so we can make our $5 before. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, I've got my paranormal forum question of the night. Visit paranormalforum.net. You ready for this one? We're coming back to the paranormal industry.
All right. Okay.
You guys have said it's kind of fading. Are we sure about that? I guess that's kind of a short question, but
I was going to say, is that a question?
Well, I mean, it seems TV-wise it's kind of fading, but is the grassroots effort fading, or is it the same? Or where do you guys see that at? Because I'm interested. What you guys know about what's going on out there?
Eric, I'll let you go first with that.
Okay. I definitely don't believe it's growing. That's for sure. I'm sorry, my computer went to sleep here. If it is fading, it is fading rather slowly. Okay, I personally believe that it is fading. I think there's going to come a time in the future, not necessarily the near future, but in the future, in which this whole paranormal thing is going to go underground again. It's going to be something you just don't talk about and you don't care about for most people. I think the reason being is, and again, taking the spiritual approach here, Satan is, he's a smart cookie, literally, he's a hot cookie, literally, a smart hot cookie. If he's in hell all the time, which is a whole nother discussion. He's never in hell. But the point is that in order for deception to work, you can't keep using the same deception necessarily over and over and over again, because eventually people are going to grow tired of it. So there has to be a balance. And this is, again, this isn't like a fact or anything. This is just my own personal opinion. in order to have that balance, you need to allow, in regards to the paranormal, I'll say community, you need to allow these investigations, this whole I guess uproar about the paranormal to fade in and then fade out, and then fade in and fade out. Because when it's gone, or at least underground, people's interests start to grow again. And when there's a great amount of interest in the world, Satan kind of releases it, and it comes back, and everybody's just boom into paranormal, and nobody cares about, you know, whatever else that's going on in life. No one cares about their own life, you know, and what truths there are in the world, and so or in the universe. And so, yeah, I think that there's this small fluctuation. I think we're at that point in which it's starting to fade out, because there's just not as many people who are interested as there once was. But that's not to say it won't grow again, maybe in 30 or 40 years.
All right. Well, I'm going to actually take a phrase out of your chat room here, Jim, from Heidi. It actually puts it pretty well into perspective as far as I'm concerned. She says, I don't think it's faded. It's just normal now. It's blending in and not standing out. And that's, I believe, 100% correct. The paranormal is now the normal. And so now all of these people don't really have to go out and seek this stuff. You know, it's happening to a lot of people now because, as you know, we were saying about the Ouija board, the door is open. You know, everybody, almost everybody believes in the paranormal now. What they believe is where a lot of people differentiate. But as far as the TV shows, I agree with Eric. They are not growing. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of the TV shows are fading. With that being said, because there have been so many people that have come out and said they're faking evidence because they need ratings. And Eric's cat is distracting.
I know. I'm sorry.
But as far as what we do, I've seen a growth in paranormal or supernatural podcasts, or what we would call online radio shows. We've actually seen a boom in that since 2009 compared to the TV shows. And with that being said, you know, even though Eric and I own our own network now, I think a lot of what we would call the big paranormal networks have kind of put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, especially podcasters' mouths, to where they won't be doing shows eventually because a lot of people are being ground to the grind zone because of these quote unquote huge paranormal networks or podcast networks.
For the record, you were about to say ground to the ground.
I was.
I really want to slap you.
That's okay, though. I understand. And I totally agree with you that it's not necessarily it's not fair to the host that the owners of some of these networks are lacking business fundamentals. It's horrible to the listeners who have to search high and low to find my show, your show, Heidi's show, any other shows that we have out there.
Right.
So that's who it ends up hurting at the end, is these people who like listening to these shows and have to go through so many bad ones. And we're not going to mention any bad ones.
No.
Not yet, anyways.
Though I have several in the top of my brain, but no, I won't mention who they are.
Quit thinking my name right now. Oh.
Get out of my head, Jim.
We kind of danced around it earlier. You kind of mentioned some of this. Well, where can people find your show and your net? Let's find your show first. Let's get into the show, and then we'll get into the network.
Okay. Well, you can find the show at ParaTruthRadio.com, as well as iHeartRadio. We do have a YouTube feed with video now. iTunes, Spreaker. Spreaker is the main site that we upload the shows to, as well as any other podcasting app or streaming software. Eric, why don't you go with the network part of it?
Okay. The network. It's a thing that supplies you with awesome radio shows such as
You don't have
ours.
to describe what a network
I'm
is.
kidding. Goodness gracious, no. So, ParaTruth Radio Network, believe it or not, isn't ParaTruthRadioNetwork.com. It's PTRNetwork.com. Although, honestly, if you type in ParaTruth Radio or just ParaTruth, you'll probably find the address to the network. So, do we have a Twitter for the network itself now?
We do have a Twitter for the network. We do have a Google Plus group as well as a Facebook group for the network. We have a Facebook page for just the show itself, and same thing for Twitter, Google Plus, LinkedIn, all that great stuff. And on the network, you can also find Jerry from Tie Girl for God Radio, who does every other Wednesday as well.
So, remember earlier when I was talking about deceiving? I'm pretty good at that. You see how I just said one thing and I somehow got him to finish everything else for me? That's how it works.
It's because you won't say it, so I have to.
That's because I don't know it, mostly.
That's what I meant.
That's the difference.
Well, somebody has to say it. Somebody has to know
Somebody has to say it. The thing between Justin and I, now, he's when it comes to the radio show, he's the guy to talk to when it comes to all the technical stuff. When it comes to all the websites and this and that, he has all the information. He knows everything. I don't know diddly squat when it comes to all that stuff. If you want some creative things done, I'm the person to look to. But, actually getting everything out there, don't ask me questions.
And for the record, I applied to iHeart months ago, and I'm still just waiting. So hopefully, I sent an email after the first month, and I'm like, "How long does this take?" And they're like, 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm like, "It's already okay."
Okay.
What are they doing? Approving a show a day over there? I mean,
yeah. We have another friend of ours who sent it to iHeart as well, and he's like, "How long did it take you guys?" I was like, it was several weeks before they actually sent the acceptance thing, but as soon as you get that acceptance notice, it's within a couple of days, and you are on iHeart. So I do encourage you to continue to keep getting the shows up there. They will get back to you as soon as it is finalized and going to be up there. So
I keep posting there. I behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Hashtag spoiler. I like Spreaker because I can just upload there and it goes to YouTube.
Right.
It makes my life a whole lot easier. May not be sexy on YouTube, but
Well, I think that's one reason why we made the switch, because we were on Blog Talk Radio again when we first started, and then made the switch to Spreaker. Mm-hmm. There is a lot more benefits with Spreaker compared to Blog Talk. With that being said, you can also create your own app for your show, or Spreaker does have their own smartphone app to stream shows as well. So, I mean, Blog Talk does not have that as of yet.
It's just an overall better platform in the end,
Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, and on top of that, the big issue I think that we have with Blog Talk is they constantly change things on us. And so, there'd be times where we have pretty good benefits and everything's working out, and then they change their own platform, and so we have to change with it, and we actually lost some things here and there, and it prevented us from having the clarity that we wanted and really being having as professional of a show as we do on Spreaker. But I don't want to knock Blog Talk completely, because for those of you out there who actually are just getting into radio and you want a cheap way to really get into radio and have decent sound, Blog Talk's great. It is a great starting.
I would say stepping stone.
Stepping stone, yeah. So, I wouldn't knock it completely.
That's one guy's opinion.
You know what? I'm done. I'm out.
Well, since we're talking behind the curtain stuff, we've got a few minutes left here. Fill me in on who you'd like to have on your show. Not who you have coming up, but who you'd want to have coming up if I could get you anybody on your show that you'd like to have.
Oh, anybody that we would like to have.
Yeah.
Me personally,
Yeah, probably.
Art Bell, because I truly feel that if Art Bell didn't start doing what he did way back when, none of us would be doing what we're doing right now.
Good luck with that, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
For me, I would say Zach Bagans.
I just slicked my hair back. I'm sorry. What did you say? Okay.
I think we were going to try to get Josh Gates. We were going to try to.
Yeah, Josh Gates would be. We wanted to try, or we were going to try to. But honestly, I mean, I know they're all super busy.
Right. He's
constantly traveling the world, more so than probably anybody right now in I guess the paranormal community in regards to television. With his newest show, Expedition Unknown, which is a fantastic show, by the way. He's literally gone close to 200 plus days out of the year around the world, rarely ever in the country. So it's kind of tough to get someone like him on.
Well, and I think we were both kind of put off by the fact that he was charging so much for his autographs at Scarefest as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Josh Gates would be a great guest, as well as Art Bell or even Zach Baggins. I've tried reaching out to all three, and, as you guys have said, good luck, because they are really frugal about who they want to do shows with, as well as they are very busy on top of that.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Okay, wait a second. Charging for an autograph at an event?
Scarefest.
I've heard
a lot of guests there. Okay, so we've been there a couple of times, and the majority of the guests that they have there all charge for autographs. It's very rare that you can get an autograph for free, which is very unfortunate, especially when you're worth $4 million. But
when we first went, I think it was Scarefest
2009.
Yeah,
I think it was probably
2 or 3, either one. Back then, it wasn't as much as it was this past time that we went. I think there was not a single, what you would call, quote-unquote, famous person at this event that did not charge for their autographs.
I must be missing something, because I don't know. Maybe it's just me being the small podcaster that I am, that I would think that I want anybody and everybody who wants a picture, autograph, whatever, to have it.
Yeah.
That's what we said when we were doing our live show at Scarefest.
It must just be, this has changed the thing. I don't know if they're required or not, because I know when we went originally in 2009, Zach Bagans gave me his autograph for free. He wasn't charging at all. So I don't know if it's just something that they have to do. Maybe Scarefest tells them they have to do it, and then those proceeds go back to whoever's running Scarefest. I don't know, but it's a sad thing for the fans.
And we'll throw the door open. Somebody who knows something about this, if it does go back, or what's going on. I guess I'll leave it at that. Feel free to look us up, look me up, look these boys up, and have fun explaining this one to me, because, like I said, I just don't get it. I mean,
yeah.
But that's just me. What do I know? Yes, Heidi, I'd have to pay people to take my picture with me. Yes, I agree with that one. Actually, I went to the live paranormal, whatever it was, in Erie last summer, and walked around, and a few people knew who I was, which was kind of totally random to me. They knew who I was. And then John Tenney walked up behind me and said, "Malliard," and I went, "Hey, John." And just turned around. Didn't blink. I'm like, what? It took me a minute. And had a nice conversation with it, but he was just, nice guy. I didn't even think about autograph or anything like that. We just had a nice conversation, which was really funny because, you've been to these events, when you're there with one of the headliners and you're kind of talking into, he had a paper on his, so I picked it up and started talking into it like the baseball players do into the glove, so people couldn't see what I was saying, and you could just see the people wondering what in the world what I was talking about that was so important. It was nothing. It was just, just to humor people, make people wonder. And, of course, John just loved that because, he's just weird like that. And, but it was just fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, the one thing that I do have to say is, even though I had to pay for the autograph, actually what we did is we paid for the picture, I believe, and we got to meet Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, and very personable guy when you're standing there and waiting to get your autograph and all that. We also got to take pictures with him. So some of them are very personable, but they're still charging an arm and a leg for either an autograph or you have to buy the picture for their autograph or whatever. So somebody from that perspective, Sid Haig, who has been in several big movies and who is probably a multimillionaire at this point. Yeah, why are we being charged for this? Yes, you're a public figure, we get it, but if we could crack that code, we would all probably be millionaires at this point as well.
And I will say this for the record. Now, if I get my picture taken with the person and they print it instantly, I'd pay for that. But that's okay. Now that I've subjected that to everybody out there, just that final word on that. Okay. Before we run out of time, I want you guys to give me the website and all the fun stuff again. Mention the project name for your short film as well. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Go ahead, Derek.
Okay. So, ParaTruth Radio, you can find us on Spreaker, iHeart, YouTube, and pretty much any platform whatsoever. All you have to do is Google us, ParaTruth Radio, and you'll find a bunch of different links to get to us. Check us out on Facebook. Simply facebook.com/ParaTruth Radio. Again, it's another link that would pop up if you Googled us. Like us, talk to us. We love that kind of thing. You'll find our email as well on our website. Also check out ptrnetwork.com. You'll learn more about our show, as well as our friend Jerry, who also has a show that is usually on every other Wednesday, another paranormal show. So it's a good show. I think everyone would like it. The name of my film is The Revealed. It is officially completed and is hitting the festival circuit this summer and for about the next year. If you want to know more about that, you'll find information for it again on ParaTruthRadio.com. You can also find it on Facebook.com/The Revealed. And you can find out more about I know other languages, guys. You can find out more about the film as well on my own website, which is ericscareback.com. And, of course, if you want to know more about this handsome devil talking to you right now, ericscareback.com is a good place to go. So.
Oh boy!
Normally, sorry, I can't help myself sometimes, guys.
I know.
You might as well get it out there. If you paid for that domain, you couldn't have found something. Never mind. Sure, there wasn't a big line for that one. No, I'm just kidding. I understand because Malliard spelled with the I. I can get any domain I want. But anyways, normally I kick the guest off before I get to this, but I'm going to leave you guys on because I think, I have to say it to somebody. My direct take from directadlinks.com. Go check them out. My direct ad links take tonight is Happy Paranormal Day.
Happy Paranormal Day.
I have no idea what in the world that means, but I've seen it on Facebook today, so A, it must be true, and B, it must be wished.
Yeah.
I checked at Hallmark. They didn't have any cards, so I can't mail them to you. But maybe next year.
Maybe.
Or maybe somebody will come up with some.
We can make a fortune off of it ourselves.
Right,
Yeah.
there you go.
Get on that. Somebody go buy paranormalcards.com right now. And,
There you go.
get on that. I'm going to be very mad if I go check in a couple hours and somebody just bought it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, thank you guys. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
All right, folks. That was the episode we did with Jim Malliard on the Malliard Report. It was a great episode. We enjoyed doing it with Jim. He's a great guy, an old friend of mine, and I encourage you to check out his show. And if you want to do that, you can go to tmr247.net, and you can listen to old episodes when he is not live and join people in his chat room, or you can listen to him live every Tuesday night. So without further ado, folks, that is the end of the show tonight. Next week, we have Nick Redford coming on to talk about his book, The Malliard Report. So I encourage you to definitely check that show out as well. It's going to be an interesting one by far. So until next week, where you'll find us same time, same channel, my name is Justin. Talk to you later, guys.
If you enjoyed this episode of ParaTruth Radio and you would like to listen to it again, or are interested in listening to any of our past episodes, then you can listen to them on HD at our website, paratruthradio.com.
And you can also find us at Stitcher, Blueberry, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube.
And of course, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for brand new updates of our show every day.